Welcome to the Fit to Talk podcast. You just found the #1 health and fitness podcast for performers. And you're listening to a guest episode, during which we discuss the realities of a career in the performing arts with people who are fit to talk about them. Yeah, and if you like what we do, please leave us a review or on Spotify, click that follow button. And also, if you like our meaningful, helpful and accurate information, then you might also want to be coached by us. And if so, Fit to Perform might be for you. Yes, indeed, it might. And you can find out more information over on our Instagram or on our website. Moving on, we have an incredible guest for you today. Yeah, we do. I'm very excited about this one. Yes. Very excited. So today's guest is a diva-level powerhouse moving through multiple octaves with syrupy ease. An actual quote. An actual quote. A fantastic quote. And it's very accurate. To be clear, a quote not from our guest, a quote about our guest from a review about our guest. That's not our guest describing herself. But yeah, she's fantastic. She's been in, everybody's talking about Jamie. She's been in Aladdin, Fiverr, Lift, Ghost, Antony and Cleopatra at the National. And another one, wasn't it? Just another. Oh yes, it's Time Traveler's Wife. With you, with me. Yes, with me. She's playing the wonderful Charisse, and she's bloody marvelous. She is a powerhouse. Yeah, I agree with the quote. Yeah, the quote. Like they could have lifted that direct from this show, from Time Travelers. Yeah, it would be the perfect quote for her in this. Yeah, but please enjoy. We have a great time, and yes, please enjoy the hilarious Hiba Elchikhe. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you. Wow, it's lovely.
You know, the coffee sacks are...
Is that a you thing?
No.
Oh, that's a shame.
No, it's not enough.
You do like coffee though, Bobby.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, but... The only reason you're kind of behind the coffee. I'm less offended by them than Steffan is. Steffan is fully offended by them. I hate them.
Yeah, really? I'm not offended by it.
That's where I started. Okay. The kind of level you're pitching me now.
Okay.
Like, I tell you what, tell me why we should keep this coffee sack.
I just feel like it's quite edgy, you know? It's yeah. It's edgy. It's giving sustainable.
Sustainable.
Yeah.
Cheap.
Yeah.
Cheap.
The background's quite nice.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It's textured.
Yeah.
But more about
variety.
textures. You know.
Variety as well, you know? Different logos, there's no continuity within it.
There's none.
So you never know what you're going to get, really.
Exactly. It's completely unrelated to the podcast. I'm totally sold.
Is it unrelated? I drink a lot of coffee, so actually...
Yeah. We have done a caffeine episode. We do love...
Well, there you go.
Yeah, you know I'm obsessed with coffee.
There you go.
Well, you drink a lot of coffee?
Yeah.
How much coffee are we talking?
I have a coffee machine in my dressing room. Bobby knows this.
How are you not permanently there? I've been in. We've had... It's a lovely
I've told him to come and have a little coffee in my room.
Hiba's dressing room is fantastic. Like...
Have
you kitted it out? The way she's kitted it out.
I do like to kit it out. It's you spend more time there than you do at home. It's true. If you're going in and you're not enjoying yourself, then it's not going to be fun. So obviously it's got lots of glitter in it, a coffee machine, snack table, streamers. What are they called? Are they called streamers? What are those things called that we have in the show? That you know what I mean?
Not tell you walk through.
Yes.
Oh, do you like beads, or are they like the papery ones?
Yeah. Well, paper.
They're like glittery.
Glitter.
Yeah.
Paper,
shimmery, glittery.
Glitter plastic. Yeah. Glitter plastic. Yeah.
I want to jump back immediately to this, but in the meantime, we ask all of our guests to do something wonderful throughout the podcast recording, which is to try and tell us a lie.
A lie.
About anything you wish.
Okay.
Big or small. God. And here's what will happen. We ask people who are listening to
guess what it is.
As they listen, guess what it is.
Okay.
And we will attempt to guess at the end. We will attempt.
Okay. I'm nervous.
And we will fail. We'll also guess whether we think you have remembered to lie or not.
Yeah. Okay. This
which is possible.
Yeah.
So would you be willing to attempt that?
Yeah, absolutely. I can't guarantee that I will, but...
That's okay. Don't
I'll give it a go.
Most people don't.
Okay.
And even if you did... Can't guarantee we'll get it.
Okay.
Strong chance we won't. It doesn't go well. I was particularly poor at this, actually. When we used to keep score.
We used to do scores.
You gave up on the scores.
It became
it was embarrassing for him.
Yeah. It actually was. So jumping back to the dressing room thing, like, why do you think you do that? Why do you kit it out so much?
Do you know what? Because I love the fact that I have my own dressing room in town. Like, I feel like growing up in London, it was always like a dream of mine to be in the West End, right? And when I did a lot of like international touring when I started out, and there's only so much you can decorate when you're like in China, or like, do you know what I mean? Or like, so, and then even though I had my own dressing room in Australia, it was like, I knew there was like a finite time that I would be in that space. So as soon as I moved into a dressing room in London, I was like, here we go.
I was like,
this is my home now. So I like decorated it all. Because I also like to host people in my dressing room. I feel like it's like, no, but seriously, like, if I could, I'd have people in my dressing room all the time. Because I feel like it's a nice social thing. Like, even though I like my own space and having my own dressing room, I definitely prefer there to be people there all the time. So it's like, okay, how can I make it as inviting as possible so people want to come down to my dressing room, basically?
That's so cool. Because I was racking my brain through I've seen the show twice.
Yeah.
And obviously know it nowhere near as well as I do. And I was trying to go, do you have a lot of time off during it?
Well, not really.
I was going to say, it's pretty nuts.
Yeah, like if I'm not on stage, and I'm changing the majority of the time, and so the only times I have off are like the interval and no, but I have the interval into Journeyman and this time. So I have a really long interval, which is like my time in the dressing room.
Dreaming.
Yeah, so that's my time.
You don't want like, if you were just on stage for like 30 seconds after the interval, then you've got 7 minutes off. You're like, this isn't.
Yeah.
Nice.
So when you got a full costume change in the interval, that's the worst. When
I
it's
do
like
have
a
a change.
massive change, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
And everyone else is having a break.
That's it. If I was on straight away after the interval, then I wouldn't have a break really. Because Tim came in the other day and he was like, why is there so many people in your dressing room? But it's because I have all my change like there, where it's like wig change, costume change, because that's the only time everyone's free to do that change.
Yeah.
So then it means that I'm dressed in the interval, and then I have 2 other songs to like chill.
I did a panto, and normally you sign up for a panto hoping that maybe you'll have some time off stage. But almost all the pantos I'd done had been like full on. I'm on stage the whole time. Like they're like, hey, do the Prince, but also do all the funny stuff. You're like, no thanks. And then the last one I did, I was on stage for about 15 minutes.
Lovely.
What was it you taught? Robin Hood. You'd expect that I would be on stage for quite a lot of this.
Yeah. Were you Robin Hood?
I was Robin Hood.
He was Robin Hood.
I love this.
And then for some reason, inexplicably in the script, just disappeared.
Lovely.
Had about half an hour off stage.
Yeah.
Then the interval.
Oh,
my God,
lovely. That's
what a
beautiful.
Lovely gig, yeah.
I was there working away in the dressing room.
Yeah.
I had the teas made for everyone when they came back. The boys, when they came back for that half time, they're like, oh, that was such hard work. And I was like,
Tell me about it.
God, you were sweating. Yeah, it's hot today. Dream show.
Lovely.
Dream show to be in.
That's the best. Did you have a big celeb in your panto? Is that why that you had all that time off, or not really?
No.
Oh.
Maybe just during rehearsals they went, oh God, we want less of him.
This guy, less of him.
Just cut. No, it was a plot purpose. I knew when I got the script, I was like, this is going to be...
Lovely.
Like, oh my God, this is going to be a fantastic break.
And somebody had worked for the director before and said, when they're rehearsing those scenes, if he sees you sat on the side, he'll put you in.
Oh.
So just make sure you're not there.
Lovely.
So I was...
Someone had your back there.
Oh, 100%.
Then you're not doing like a random cross in a completely different costume.
Yeah, which is what would have happened. Yeah. So I was always working on stuff in a different room. I was like, oh no, no. And then in tech, he was like, oh, you're off stage for ages in this act. And I was like, I didn't even notice.
Oh, what a shame. Have fun, guys.
See ya. So let's ask an official first question.
Here we go. Okay.
Goes like this.
Yeah.
How does the story of your life begin?
Whoa. Okay. Wow. I guess I was born. Number one.
Good start. You're not sure.
I guess. I'm assuming. Actually, this is actually a really interesting story. So when my mum was 7 months pregnant with me, she got hit by a black cab, and she's okay, but half of me was born in the ambulance on the way to the hospital, and the other half was born in Hammersmith Hospital. So she was coming out of a scan, like a pregnancy scan, and she got hit by a black cab. So that's I guess how my story begins. 7 months.
Wow. So how did they attach the two halves back?
I think I'm okay. I think I'm attached, but I don't know.
The response is what.
God.
You hate it so much that I love it. Yeah. That's nuts.
Yeah.
That is mad.
Yeah.
Hit by a black cab.
Yeah, black cab, black taxi.
Did they get the registration number?
Well, yeah, but I think it was one of those ones where it was like she was on a zebra crossing and like not on the zebra crossing, like next to the zebra crossing. So it was like he brought her flowers to the hospital, as far as I'm aware.
Well, I bet he did.
Yeah, you would hope so.
Yeah, he's probably like really
My
scared.
God, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I might go to prison.
Yeah, but thankfully we're all okay, I think.
Yeah. Well, I did love that. Like, that was obviously a while ago.
Yeah.
And then you were like, my mum's okay. And then you touched the table.
Yeah,
like,
it's like, nervous, very superstitious.
Hope that car crash
Hasn't affected us.
find something out 20 years later.
Yeah, I guess that's
God.
from the car crash. Like, you just never know.
No.
But no, it's fine.
And you said you're a London girl, obviously Black
Yeah.
Cab. So where was that?
Hammersmith, like Fulham.
Hammersmith.
Well, actually, on Fulham Road.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I was also born in Hammersmith Hospital.
There you go.
Side Knowledge.
I
I know
love
where
that.
I was born.
Hammersmith Hospital.
Yeah.
Are you a Londoner, Bobby?
I am.
Why
Well,
did I
kind of
not know
loosely.
that?
I was a Londoner for a little bit and then
Okay.
moved out to Surrey and then back.
Oh, yeah.
You not hear it in his accent.
In my Mockney accent.
Yeah, I can.
It's
I
like
can.
terrible. It's that hybrid of Surrey and
Yeah.
Cockney. It's
Yeah.
like, and Sam's embarrassed by my accent
Really?
constantly.
Well, I'm sorry now. So we've done like a little
We have done little
swapsies.
swapsies.
Where are you in Surrey?
Walton on Thames.
Oh,
Banger.
But don't tell everyone because I don't want people to come to my house.
Waltham on Thames, maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Could be Walton on the Hill. Who knows?
It's Surrey. It's
also a place.
It's in between Surbiton and Woking, I'll say.
It's a nice part of town.
Yeah.
Like, it's nice. So, okay, so you grew up in Hammersmith.
Well, no, I grew up in Earl's Court.
Okay, so
Yeah.
not far from Hammersmith.
No, not far.
What was that like? Because Earl's Court is like
Yeah.
busy.
I loved it. Like, I felt like at the time I didn't think I even acknowledged living in London. It was just like normal for me.
Yeah.
So I'd get a bus to like school, and then like if I wanted to meet friends, we'd go to like Bayswater, like Queensway ice skating, or we'd go to like Piccadilly, like Trocadero. They used to be like this.
Trocadero
Do you remember?
was banging.
Oh my God. I used to love it there. I was so upset when it closed down.
Sega World. Sega World.
I love an arcade, like literally love an arcade. And I used to, like, my whole childhood, anytime I'd get money from like aunties or anything, I'd be like, well, I'm going to Trocadero. So it was like a full thing. And when it closed down, I was so gutted that there was not really any like place like that in Central anymore. There's a few arcades in town. Like there's one opposite on Wardour Street.
Yeah, there's that NQ64.
Is that the downstairs one?
there's downstairs.
Yeah, it is good.
I went to that last year. It was wicked.
But Trocadero, guys,
Trocadero.
it was.
That was
Remember
next
that
level.
giant escalator?
Yeah.
It was absolutely huge. I've never seen anything
Yeah.
like it. It went like all the way to the top and then you would go work your way back down.
Yeah, all the way down.
Yeah.
And they had everything there. It was like, bye. It was everything you can actually like dream of in an arcade
Yeah.
was there.
There was like a Sega place. Do you remember?
Yeah.
It was Sega. The whole thing was Sega.
Yeah.
Originally, and then they got rid of the Sega branding.
Yeah.
I went to that in my freshers week in drama school.
Really?
That was like, I hadn't really spent any time in London ever.
Yeah.
And then like I come to London and freshers week and you're in this place. I'm like, what is this
Yeah.
heaven I have found?
This magical
It's like a
place.
little bowling bit in it.
Yeah. There was bowling,
everything.
cinema, everything.
There were bumper cars.
Yeah.
That was epic.
It was so good. Honestly.
What's your go-to arcade game then? So now
Ooh.
all of the machines are there. What are you going
This
to?
is so bad. Maybe I shouldn't admit it. It's like either the claw machine.
Oh, okay.
I've got an addictive personality. So once I start something, I'm like, I must win, you know?
Right,
so
yeah.
like the claw machines for sure. All those ones that you put in like 2p. And
The
then,
2p machines are great.
God, I love them.
Value on a 2p machine. I felt
Yeah.
like I was getting a lot of
Yeah.
time for
Yeah.
the input that
Agreed.
I had.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah.
Whereas, like,
2p machines are
if you
great.
played like Street Fighter or
Yeah.
whatever it might be, or like Time Crisis.
I was all about Time
Yeah.
Crisis.
Love Time Crisis. But you needed a few coins
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
to be playing those games.
Yeah.
So you'd maybe, you'd crack a couple of pounds into that. And then
Yeah.
when you're like, I'm looking a bit light on funds now. 2p.
Then
Yeah.
2p machine. I do like air hockey as well.
Nice.
Social game.
Yeah. I do like
Air
a
hockey's
social game.
great.
Yeah. And
Underrated.
I get really like aggressive playing it. Like all the anger in me comes out when I'm playing air hockey. It's like wild, but I do love it.
I feel like you need to get a little mini air hockey table for your dressing room. Imagine how cool that would be.
We
It
had all
would
this
be
fun.
really cool. It would be really cool if we were staying longer in the theatre. You better believe I'd have kitted it out with like maybe a pool table. I don't know. Like there would have been something else. Or there's foldable ones that you could play like loads of different games on
Yeah.
there.
Yes.
I used to, on the Matilda tour, I carted around a mini pool table for the
Yeah.
dressing room.
That's cool.
I was driving, so I didn't.
I love that.
Like and we were in each venue for like 6.
Oh, yeah, you'd like,
weeks,
yes,
6
sit
yeah,
down.
long
weeks,
sit
something
downs.
like that. So I was literally like carting around a pool table. Like,
Yeah, I love that. I rate it.
And we bought a Beyblade stadium when we were
Oh
in
my
town.
God.
Beyblade Stadium.
Because
I remember
just like
Beyblade.
you're saying, we were just we were in town for a year.
Yeah.
You start going, how can we get this out? And because you get bored, and then when people in the dressing room are like, do you remember this from when you were 10? And you're like, it's on eBay for 20 quid.
Let's get it. Yeah, for sure.
Like, that is exactly what's happening in the boys' dressing room. We're all doing Lego.
I do love it.
We've got so much Lego in our dressing room. It's mad.
What have you got now?
We're just finishing off a Marvel bit of Lego. We've got Star-Lord's face mask.
Oh, yeah.
But we want it. R2-D2's coming out, I think, just as we close. So we're toying with getting that.
For the last week. I reckon you could do it.
If it's available, I think we should do it.
That's how you should spend your time.
Yeah, for
We'll
sure.
just do R2-D2 because
You don't want to like savor every moment. You want to Lego every moment.
Exactly.
Because that's the memory you'll remember from the show.
Yeah.
It's like, do you remember all those Legos we built?
Our highlight has been building BD1.
Yeah. I've seen it.
You've
It's
seen
really cool.
BD1's
Yeah.
cool.
What is that?
It's from a Star Wars game.
Is it a round one? Is
No,
it a bit
not,
like
not,
BB-8?
not BB-8.
No.
BD1. It's from that Jedi Fallen Jedi game.
This is like Spanish to somebody who doesn't know anything about Star
That's
Wars, isn't it?
true.
They like,
I know nothing about Star Wars, but I've been
learnt.
a big part of building BD1.
well, Lego's fun, isn't it?
It is fun. It's fun.
It is fun.
Speaking of that,
Go on.
so you loved arcades at
Yeah.
that point. How did you get from loving arcades
Yeah.
in Earl's Court, living the dream,
Whoa, yeah.
to going, oh, how about I make the West End my home? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, okay. There was a long journey from that. Yeah. So like, I went to obviously primary school in Central, and then all my school reports were like, Hiba loves dressing up and pretending to be different characters naturally. So then at like 11, I desperately wanted to do like singing and acting classes, and I used to do like a school choir thing called Young Voices, which was like a kind of UK, or like maybe it was a London thing, was like a London choir where we'd sing at like different events, and we'd go to like in Ladbroke Grove there was like a tabernacle church thing, and we'd sing, and it was like, so I loved singing, and then I was like, please mum, I want to do like singing lessons and acting lessons, but obviously it's so expensive, and it's like, it's not just something to be like, oh yeah, okay, like let's get you some singing lessons. So I had to like really beg and have it for like my birthday and Christmas. So then I went at the age of 11. I used to go to Sylvia Young, so I used to go like on their part-time courses. So I'd do like a Thursday and a Saturday and do like street jazz and to do like
Elite dance class. It's the only dance I did for like before
literally,
dance.
yeah.
I thought it was so cool.
Yeah, I was like, and I had like those block split sole trainers. I used to wear them on the street. I thought I was really cool by having them. I was like, yeah, I dance. And then
I was like, we know.
Yeah, like obviously you're wearing the most hideous trainers. But so I did that, and then I did like acting classes and singing classes there until 16. And that was alongside like my normal school. I went to an all-girls school in Hammersmith in Fulham. And then at 16, I applied to the Brit school, and then did like the whole audition process. But I will tell you that for one of the like criteria for the school, you had to not improvise, you had to choreograph like a 1-minute dance, right?
Fantastic.
And at this point, guys, I have to preface this by saying I did like a term of street jazz and realized that dancing wasn't for me, even though I had all the kit, like bought everything. It was like, actually, dancing is not for me. So I was like, okay, I've got to choreograph this number. And it was let me tell you, when I say I didn't choreograph, it was like what came to me in the moment. It was so bad. And it was to Closer, you know, Neo.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Oh, lovely. Thank you.
It's like listening to the album.
Lights up in this.
Oh,
wow. Bobby and Steffan.
Oh, wow, I loved that.
I was
Should I do the
ready for the
dance?
choreography.
Yeah, keep going.
On a serious note, I don't remember a single bit of it. So then, and then we had to like learn like a Shakespeare thing, which I still remember now. And like that song from Fame, oh my God, that everyone sings. Oh God, I can't remember it. Out Here on My Own.
Yeah.
So that's
We did not help you at all.
No,
I looked off into the distance.
We just absolutely let you search for that.
I was literally like, had to like sing the whole thing in my head to be like, okay, that's what it was. So anyway, so I did this hip hop. I want to say hip hop contemporary belly dancing. Yeah, it was whatever, guys, when I tell you, it was whatever came to me at that time. and I mean, somehow managed to get in.
Do you know what? They probably watched that and went, look, you can see every intention. Like she's like the intention behind every movement. They might go,
it's all so organic.
Yeah. They probably thought she's mental. Like we need to train her. But so I did 2 years there. I did 2 years at Brit, which for me was the best like training in the best school that I could have gone to. I preferred it to drama school. I just think it really celebrates people's individuality. And it's the only free performing arts school in the UK. And so for me, that was like when I fully came into my own, I guess, and like figured out who I was. And they just kind of like celebrated people being different. And it was like, oh, you want to play this role? Sure. Like there was no kind of like putting you into categories or like, you know, saying that, oh, if you're this, you need to play these kinds of roles or whatever. It was like, whatever you think you can do, which I loved. And then you go to drama school and they kind of beat it all out of you. But Brit was amazing. Like that was for me like a highlight of my training. And then I went to drama school. And then,
Do you know what? Every guest we've had that's been to Brit School has actually said very similar to that.
Everyone's raved about it.
We're doing something right at that time. We can't speak for now. That's super exciting. I want to jump back.
Yeah.
You said you remember the Shakespeare.
Yeah, it was the prologue for Romeo and Juliet. You know, like two households, both alike in dignity, in fair Verona where we lay our scene. So, like, I remember the whole
Don't
thing.
stop.
No, I'm not doing that.
Just give us a couple more lines. In fair Verona. Come
Where
on.
we lay our scene. No, honestly, I can't do it all now because I'll be deeply embarrassed. But I think it's. But I think certain like Shakespeare texts do just stay in your mind, don't they? Because of the way they're written. So, like.
It's like a song.
Yeah. So even, you know, like your drama school audition pieces or whatever you had to do, like for me it was Ophelia's speech from Hamlet still in my head. Like there's still certain things, or like when we do our Shakespeare projects at school that are like Cleopatra's speech at the end of Antony Cleopatra, they're all just there somewhere that it's like they stick in my head. But tell me to do the choreography at the end of Act 1 in
Time Traveler's Wife.
After I've been on holiday for a week. I'm like, Bobby, help. There was one time, and you know Tim, Bobby, like there was one time I came back and the choreography is the first thing to leave my head. I came back and I literally went to go do like the first tiny bits of choreography that we do in the show. And it was like to smell the book. And I just fully forgot. And I went straight into like the move that is like looking through the pages. And I could feel Tim behind me just laugh. And then for the rest of the show, he just pretended to read, like in every scene we were in, I thought, oh my God. And then every time I get to it now, I think, remember to smell the book.
You gotta smell the book.
I feel like we're quite similar in our approach to dance in that not only the street jazz connection,
obviously,
but I'm there. If I don't every day go, wait, what bit of the I need to like re-put the dance in my mind, or it just disappears. I'll just get to it and be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what
it is like that for me. And my friends always have this running joke because apparently I only do shows where I have to be a commercial dancer. Like every show that I've done, I've had to do some sort of commercial dance. And it's like really like at the forefront of the show. And I'm like, for some reason, the street jazz is coming out.
It's that training.
Said that one term you did a street jazz.
Oh, yeah. And I think probably growing up in London and just that's the vibe of how everyone dances, isn't it? So it's like, as much, you know, there's like a vibe to it, I guess, as opposed to like a technique.
Yeah.
Whereas like actual other styles of dance, you require...
It's like an attitude, isn't it? You can sell choreo that maybe isn't the most inventive or the most, what would you say? Technical?
Yeah, technical,
by going... Here's the feeling of the thing that I'm trying to get behind. Acting
through dance.
Yeah, I do think that's definitely a part of it. Like I remember on Jamie, it was like it was more about the vibe, and then you know, obviously because it was like incredible like dancers from like Zoo Nation who have trained in that style for years. So they'd be like, it's the vibe, and then they'll be like, okay, so now lift your elbows and do this and this and this. And you know, but then that's how I connect to it, because I'm like, oh cool, I know what the vibe of it is, and now I can then focus on the technical elements as opposed to like approaching it technically and then trying to layer the other things, because I'm like, that's harder for me.
I agree, and I wonder if it's the same for you, because I come from a sort of an acting aspect that I'm like, if I learn the if somebody like blocks me through a scene, it's much harder work to go, right, now let me go back and work out why I moved, rather than going, let's see what comes up between us in this moment, and then setting it.
For sure.
And going, actually, can you find a way to get that intention to get you to here? You're like, we're like, of course.
Oh, yeah.
It's super easy. But is that sort of similar?
100%. I think, you know, on the shows that exist in their kind of versions of this is what the show is and this is what you need to do.
You're on B7 under that line.
Oh, yeah. Like, for me, that was like a really hard pill to swallow, because I had to figure out for myself how to make it work, you know, as opposed to feeling like this is creative and I can, you know, justify it before doing it. It's like, no, this is what you're doing. So now it's like the opposite of what you do as an actor, where it's like, okay, cool. Now I've got to figure out why I'm doing those things and how I make these moves feel natural to me, and not just moving 4 steps to hit 4 because that's where the light's hitting you, you know? So
by that word on that beat without walking in tempo.
Don't walk
exactly.
in tempo.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that on those kinds of shows, it's like you've got to reverse engineer it in a way. Yeah, that
is a fascinating process, I think, as a performer, and one that I don't think we talk about all that much because it's its own skill.
For sure.
That really, musicals or plays that have music in is the only place it's really that common.
Yeah.
When you're like, and actually, you don't really talk about that. When you're like, guys, it's like you can't approach it the way you normally would because it's not your call.
No.
Like, someone else has decided. In some of them, like some shows, it's like, no, your hand is on this degree, like on this line, like you must remove your hat on this word. Whatever it is. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Fine. Like, how can I engineer that impulse at exactly that moment then?
Yeah.
Or otherwise it's kind of empty, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Fun times. So you said after that you went to drama school.
Yes.
Where did you go?
Mount View.
Oh, when was that? Do you mind me asking?
When did I graduate? 2014.
2014, so you were like, I graduated 2011, so you were in the like bit
what were your shows?
I wasn't in Mount View, sorry. Just year-wise.
Okay.
But we will know some of the same people.
Okay. Were you at Arts Ed? No.
No, that would mean I could dance better than I can. I was at Central, so doing the acting stuff.
Yes.
Badly, but I was doing it. So at that time, especially then, Mount View was like, you're in music theatre now.
Yeah.
Like, what was that like?
There were good things and bad things for sure. Like, I think for me personally, I felt like listen, this is my experience at the time that I was there. I feel like it's a different institution now and the world has changed a lot since then. But I felt like I was being pigeonholed into what the roles they thought I could play, as opposed to what I was capable of doing. So like, in my whole time at Mount View, I never played a lead role. And it's not until afterwards that I was like, oh no, I'm capable of doing that. But no one ever kind of believed in me at that school, or the roles that I was given were like truly like the old lady character parts, or like the kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, kind of like legit the prostitutes, or like that kind of like character-y roles, as opposed to like a 3-dimensional character who could tell a story, I guess. And so like there was a lot of stuff that I had to do outside of the institution, if that makes sense. But at the same time, I learned so much that I wouldn't have learned, on my own, about different practitioners and all the tools that I needed. I definitely still got whilst I was there, but not necessarily the confidence or the belief, I guess, in myself, like leaving there, which I know some other people got from the school, and some people go to other schools and have the same experience as me. So I don't know if it's like it's just how I felt leaving it, but I wouldn't change it, because I think it gave me that kind of like motivation to make stuff happen for myself, because I was like, nothing is going to be handed to me, so I've just got to make it happen in a way. So I think that's kind of where my work ethic comes from, and going like, like even with our show, I'm like, oh, cool, the show's closing. Who am I writing to get my next job? Because I'm like, I can't just sit and wait for like stuff to happen, because it's like, that's when nothing happens, because you're putting your energy into other people as opposed to like what you can do, if that makes sense. So in answer to your question, I'm like, I wouldn't change going to drama school. Like, I loved it. I made some of my best friends in the world, like who I'm still friends with now. And we definitely still like help each other throughout everything. So I'm like, that I wouldn't change. And I wouldn't change my training, but I would hope that people going in now have a different experience of like knowing that they're capable of doing whatever they think they're capable of doing, rather than what other people see you as, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, well, it definitely makes sense. And also, I don't think it's a story that is that people haven't heard before. Like, that's the sad thing about it, right? Like, when I was at drama school, they made everyone sit down in a circle, and then we went round everybody, and everybody else had to tell them what they thought their casting was, and like their things, which in practice, you're like, I get why that happened, because you go, that might be really helpful if I have no concept of what I look like. But also, why are you like?
Yeah.
Like,
but
what?
we're actors. Do you know what I mean? Like, if a role isn't defined by race or gender or like a specific experience of a certain demographic of people, then I think, for me anyway, I think anyone is capable of exploring that character or, you know, playing a role that isn't specified by a specific experience. But like, I think, you know, when someone else tells you what you're capable of doing, it's like, well, how do you know that? Like, you don't know my life. You don't know what I've lived. So you don't know what I'm capable of doing. And I think it's like, and also like going to drama school, like growing up in London in like an inner city school, it's a very privileged place where people come from a lot of money. And so I think people just assume that you've had a certain life to get there, and it's like, you don't know like what it's taken for me to be here. So for you to kind of assume that I am this type of person is like ridiculous. Like, you know, I'm not going to play just like the old lady parts, or you know, like, but also it's fun to sometimes play those roles, like, but you want to be able to choose to do that, as opposed to someone go, that's what you're doing, you know, like, or play a role specific to your race or whatever. It's like, well, I'm more than just those things. Like, I'm capable of playing all these other things, but you just see me as that. Yeah. That's what you...
I love the way you worded that, about going, you know, unless it's integral to the character, and that one facet of you is integral to the character or the story of the piece.
For sure.
In which case you're like, okay, then let's get somebody who matches exactly.
Yeah.
Other than that, like, let's get somebody who can portray that the best in order to honor the story that we're trying to tell the best. So, and actually, that if that thing isn't relevant in that moment, then not every old lady needs to be played by an old lady.
Yeah, for sure.
If the story could be better told by someone else.
Yeah.
Like, I actually really love that way of phrasing it.
I think Jamie, like, for me, was a prime example of like the best casting in a show, genuinely, because I think, like, I played Pretty Pasha, who was like a Muslim character, right? And I grew up Muslim, I am Muslim. Like, that for me, I was like, oh, this is something, a part of me that I can, you know, bring something to. And I was the only person who was Muslim to play that role. But like, there's other people who've played it that have played it incredibly, you know, like Lucy Shorthouse isn't Muslim and she originated the role, but she'd done the research to make it this amazing character that was like a full human and a real person. And then, for example, Jamie was played by John McCree originally, right? And then every other person to play him after has been so completely different to John. But John was obviously absolutely incredible. But it's like the characteristics of Jamie as a character could be played by anyone. You know, it's not...
And even though he's a real person, that's what's really fascinating. You know, there is a real guy sat there going, this is a characterized representation of me.
For sure.
And what's more important, is it that they need to look like me or have experienced something similar to me in their life, or that they can get the essence of me and tell my story the best.
Yeah.
And like, surely that's the right
I think
answer.
so. That's what I think anyway. And I also think everyone needs to calm down a little bit. Like, but like, do you know what? We're singing and dancing. Do you know what I mean? If you can suspend your disbelief and go on the journey with us as we sing you through this show, and do you know what I mean? Like, anyone can play anything. Like, if that is, like, we time travel. Do you know what I mean? It's like, if you're going on this show with us and believing in this, then you can believe that, you know, people of different races existed during Hamilton, or do you know what I mean? It's just like, like you can.
And it shouldn't even, like, I love what you said about that. That you're taking over as somebody honoring that, you know, not being a Muslim. You know, as long as they are treating it that way, that's the only caveat, isn't it? You go, you need to do your research and you need to do it well.
Yes.
Or it becomes a parody or a mockery, and that's the risk.
Exactly.
But then trust an actor as a professional to do their job and hire the right person.
Exactly.
But fascinating. So, how did we get from Mount View?
No clue. Because I have definitely ADHD, so I'm just going to keep going until...
Bring on some tangents.
Honestly, that is literally me. I don't even know where we started, where we're ending up. It's
that's his entire podcast, really.
Okay.
And not just yours, all of them. So after Mount View, what happened first?
Okay, well... So at Mount View, like I said, I didn't have a single lead role in my third year shows, right? And I was like, I really, really believe that I'm meant to do something. Like, I'm not meant to just like wait to see if I'm going to get an agent from showcase or whatever. So what I did is I got contacts, like the Spotlight directory. And I just wrote to all these agents that I wanted to be repped by. I was like, who are my top agents that I would like to be repped by? And I wrote to basically all the big ones because I was Delulu.
Which in 2014 was like United, Independent, Curtis Brown.
It was like all the big ones. And so I wrote to them and was like, here's me, here's what I'm doing. But also wrote to a bunch of casting directors and was like, I'm in my 3rd year at Mountview. If there's anything that you think I'm right for, would love to come in and audition. And I got an audition. Jim Arnold basically was like, can you come and audition for The Lion King? And here's the material, come and audition for it. And then Gordon Cowell, who used to work for Jill Green, but now works on his own, was like, can you audition for Rock of Ages? No, he was like, can you send me a clip of you singing? And I sang, I sent him like an MP3, like just on my phone of like me singing Alone, Heart.
Yeah.
And then he called me in for Rock of Ages and then Jim called me in for Lion King. So I auditioned for both of those people. And Jim was like, listen, you're not right for Lion King, but there's another show that I'm casting that I think you're actually right for. And it was for Bend It Like Beckham, like the workshop of Bend It Like Beckham. So I went in, and bear in mind, it's like one of my second auditions out of drama school. And it was like everyone you can imagine. It was literally like a final for this workshop. And it was like Sonia Friedman, Gorinda, the director of the film. And it was just me like, hiya, like just no clue, just like,
probably better.
Maybe actually, because I didn't know who anyone was, and I was like, I just sang my go-to audition song at the time, and then I didn't have an agent at this point either. I was just like, and so Jim then rings me and was like, hey, so you've got the workshop. They're offering you like a part of like the cousin and also like kind of swinging these other roles who have like pre-contractual holiday. And obviously I had no idea what any of this was at the time. And I was like, yeah, thank you. Oh my God, I'm just really happy. So then I go to like Mountview and I'm like, hey, listen, I've got this contract. Can someone do it? And they're like, there's Bloomfields can help you here. So they helped me. And so like I'd already kind of done a workshop whilst I was still in training, and then wrote to Curtis Brown and all these people, and then told them that I had this as well. And they were like, okay. So then they came to see my showcase, and Helen and Alistair at Curtis Brown signed me from showcase, I guess. But it was also just kind of like they'd seen me in the show, like my ensemble shows throughout the year. And like that was the deal, I guess. And I then left and I signed with them. And then I did that workshop, which was like so much fun. It was 3 weeks at the Dominion studio, and I was literally still in my 3rd year, just like it was on the Easter break, before you come back and do your final project. Yeah. And I just had that 3 weeks off, and I was like, oh my God, I'm like working. Just like, so it was like also people that I really admired, like in their careers, like Rachel John was in the room, and like just incredible. And now from that workshop, I met Rachel, and she's like one of my mentors in the industry. Whenever I have any problems or questions or anything, I'm like, Rachel, what do I do? So I think like, that was such a, I don't know, like a definitive moment for me, I guess, where I was like, oh no, I can do this as like a job. And like, met some people that I'm still friends with now and still kind of like, champion me and things like that. But it was really, really cool, that workshop, and signed with my agents, and then I guess auditioned for stuff since then.
I was going to say, I really love that approach. I love that you took that proactive approach to kind of get your name out there, because I think at least nowadays a lot of people kind of rely on their agents to kind of do the heavy lifting, and you go, actually no, that approach has worked so well for you. Like, look, that one workshop has led to so many other things.
For sure.
That's because you went out there, you put your name out there, you reached out to people, and you tried to make those connections. And I think that's kind of a bit of a lost art.
I think so. I think a lot of the time is, as actors, we feel a bit powerless, like we feel like we're just waiting, or like, we're waiting on the audition to come through, or waiting on the offer to come through, whatever it is. And sometimes we feel as though like, what more can we be doing, And sometimes I have to remind myself this, because also the older I get, the more I'm like, should I be emailing them? Or like, should I just wait and let things happen naturally? But I'm like, at the end of the day, if you think you're right for something, or if you think you're capable of doing something, then what's the worst they can say? Like, oh, sorry, we don't think so. Yeah.
Okay. Which was the same situation you were in before anyway.
Yeah. So like there's genuinely nothing to lose, I think, in this situation. I'm not saying pester the casting directors or the agents like,
by no means.
Oh my God, please don't. Like, I don't want them to hate me. But I think it's like, they also want to find the best person for the job, and like you're making their life easier if you're actually like, listen, I really think I'm capable of doing this, and what you're looking for is legit who I am as a person and can do this. Then I don't see the harm in it, like at all. Yeah,
I think that's the way to go, isn't it?
Yeah.
I ended up doing similar in drama school. I didn't get the job. I went in for Legally Blonde.
Oh yeah.
When I was in third year, and. Because I emailed and was like, look, is there, do you think I'm right for this? And they brought me in, and I ended up doing a couple of rounds, and which I was like, this is going super well for me. Like, and it was for the part. And I don't know how many rounds I actually did, but like at that point, I'm like, I'm getting pretty far in this. And afterwards, when they said it's not, it's not going any further, I emailed just to go, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that process and the feedback you gave me in the room and stuff like that. And I really distinctly remember getting an email back going, no one ever emails to say thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. And if you ever need any help, just go. And you're like, oh yeah, nobody goes, cheers for the thing. And actually, that's a really helpful thing moving forward. So you go, oh, I can apply this. Like,
for sure.
I can go, just be nice.
Yeah, I honestly think that all the time. I think that's half the thing, isn't it? Like, we're all humans. We're all just trying to do the job or whatever it is. And like, I remember like, because Gordon, like, long story short, Gordon then gave me my next job. Like, and he was such a champion for me on Aladdin. Like, I'd gone into the audition, and going into audition for these big musicals, no one really tells you like how to be. Like, and naturally I'm quite a tomboy. Like I love getting glam, don't get me wrong, but it's like on my day-to-day life I'm like more likely to be in like jeans and a top as opposed to like a dress and heels for an audition. So I'd gone in and I sang like the first whatever it was, like my own legit song or whatever it was, and he took me to one side and was like, hey, listen, I think you're really right for this, but I think you need to come dressed like a Disney princess because the Americans like that kind of thing, and and I think just come with like that energy into the room, like really, because I think you can do it, but this is what I think you need to do, like wear some heels, wear a dress. And I felt so like, I really appreciated that, because I was like, because that's nothing to do with your talent. It's just to do with like how you present yourself in a room. And I think that's something that no one ever teaches you, right? And also because I never thought I was capable of playing a leading role, right? So I never knew that was like, that is part of it in a way. It's like how to pitch yourself as like this leading actress or this lead in a musical where you know how to carry yourself. It's like being a pageant queen or something. Like, it's like this thing where you have to just go in with like this confidence that no one ever kind of teaches you. And he was like, when you're going into the audition, do it like you're in the theatre, like you're in the Pross Arch and you're playing to the balcony. And I was like, whoa, like I never knew that. But these tips like that, and having someone like a casting director help you, I think honestly, like, I think how anyone gets through these auditions without having a casting director, I'm like, I have no clue, like, because they kind of just know how to get the best out of people, I think, when they're amazing at their jobs, and like Gordon and Jim and those people where it's like they're rooting for you and they know that you can do it. So why don't you just do these things that will help you get to that next? And it might not go your way. Do you know what I mean? You might do all those things and you might not get it, but at least you've learned all of that in the process. So, yeah.
Like, there's a part of me that it bothers that they can't have the imagination to see you as a person, and then when you do the work, see the work that you do, and not, like, you shouldn't have to be the thing.
No, I know. I fully agree.
But you do.
I fully agree with it. And obviously there's a part of me that gets so frustrated at that, because I'm like, oh, of course, like, just imagine me in the costume. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, but I do think it's like, it's nothing to do with like, you as a person. I think it's like helping them picture you in that, I guess, but also I think it's like, when you physically embody the character, sometimes that does help with how you're performing it. So like if I'm in like jeans or like dungas and I'm trying to do Jasmine, I'm like, well, she wouldn't wear that. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and I think sometimes even just putting a heel on, and it might not have been like to physically like to look like it, but it helped me in terms of like going, okay, she would carry herself in this different way that isn't how I would carry myself. Or like, you know, like it's just like, oh, cool, I've got heels on now. My posture's different. The way I'm like moving is so different to just being in my comfies. So I think in a way that helped as well, you know, like, yeah. And I think there was definitely a part of that I definitely took for other things where I'm like, oh, cool, if I'm going in for, you know, a younger character, I'm not going to necessarily wear my heels and my like my glam, because I'm like, oh, that they wouldn't carry themselves in that way. Not. So I think that for sure that's something that I've definitely taken with me in like other auditions that I've done.
Do you find that, so after this point, you know, there's this massive hit show, like Jamie, is there, like it's this preposterous success, and then suddenly you're in it. How did that come about, and like what was that like?
So when I got back from Aladdin, right, I did Aladdin for 2 years, and I got it at 21, right? So I was really young, and I'd moved to Australia, and I knew no one, and it was such a big thing for me at that time, and still is. Like, it still changed my life so much. And I came back and like I was like, listen, I don't want to do another musical for a second, because that is such a specific kind of musical as well. Like I said earlier, where it's like, you know, you have to hit your marks, you have to, everything is definitely by the book kind of thing. So I was like, I know what I'll do, a Shakespeare play. Like, because I was like, this is completely different to doing a musical. But was it? Not really, because in terms of like, it's still very much heightened, and you know, the text is still very like, just so like musical in a way. So for me, I was like, it is different in terms of like, it was so creative and there was nothing set. And I remember doing the self-tape and I was like, okay, I'm just going to make a choice here. And I was like, okay, so I'm going to put lipstick on the whole time I'm doing this in the tape. And I was like, because I think if however they choose to play this character, she has to be so like out there and so like not part of on the same plane as everyone else. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, so I'm going to do that. And then I feel like that kind of like, in a way, grounded me back to like just being, you know, not in that musical headspace. And like I wasn't playing the lead role, you know, so I could just sit kind of back and learn from these incredible actors that were in the space with me. And I used to literally, there were times I wasn't even called in, and I'd sit and just watch them work on the scene, because I'd be like, when else would I get this free masterclass with Sophie Okonedo and Ralph Fiennes playing Antony and Cleopatra? I was literally just sat in the rehearsal room like, I feel like I should be paying for this, you know. Like I was like, wow, what an incredible way to see how these different actors are working and like processing this experience. And I'm just sitting here like learning and absorbing everything. So I think it's exactly what I needed at that time. And then after that, I was like, okay, cool, I'm ready to like sink my teeth into like new musicals, which is my favorite thing to do, to be honest. I love doing new musicals. I love originating stuff, like, and getting to create these roles that hopefully other people will get to enjoy for future. So then I did like a show called Fiverr, which Alex Ellison wrote, and we honestly had 6 days to put this show on. It was the most stressful thing ever. But when it happened, it was magical. Like, I don't think I could ever recreate that whole process. It was like so stressful, but like we all just kind of like did it, like all of us together, mates, just making it happen, learning the music, getting the costumes from like Primark. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, let's just make this thing happen, which was so cool. And then we did an album, and the fan base from it was insane. And I did a show called Brooklyn at Greenwich Theatre. And that was like, again, kind of like, okay, I'm playing the lead role in this show. And I kind of, my whole time at drama school, I used to sing the songs from Brooklyn, right? And it was like something that I definitely wanted to do. And when it was coming, I said to my agent, I'm going to play this role. Like, it was like,
this is mine.
Yeah. And guys are going to be like, what the hell? I went into the audition. They're like, what have you prepared? I was like, Once Upon a Time from Brooklyn. I sang the song from the show because I was like, that was my audition song at that time. I was like, I'm going to sing it. And so thankfully I got it. Otherwise it'd be like, what? Like, they're like, bloody hell, she thinks a lot of herself. But I just was like, I really can see myself playing this character. So I did that. And then I'd already gone in for Jamie the year before, right? And I didn't get it. And it was at a time in my life where there was so many other things happening that I definitely know I'd gone into that audition room and I wasn't good. I hadn't prepped. I hadn't, I just wasn't in the best headspace for it. There was like family stuff happening and all this. And I was like, well, I'm going in here just for the sake of going in. And I know I could do this role, but I'm not in a mental headspace to do this role. And so then the next year I'd gone in and I was like, no, I think I can do this. Like, I was like, let me learn this and like really do some work on it. And so then I had like, but the first round I think was a dance round, which I was like RIP, because again it was commercial. It was commercial. I thought, oh God. But Tara, our like resident on the show, I'd met at auditions and stuff before, and she's always so lovely, and she kind of was like, you can do this. Like, you know, when someone's again in the room just going like, just like, you can do it. Like, don't get in your head about it. Just learn it and perform it and you'll be fine. And so I did the choreography, and it was like the main like number in the show, which was like a whole commercial thing. And then had to go in again and do like the scenes in the song. And it was at the Lyric. You know, like upstairs at the Lyric, there's like a bar, and sometimes they do auditions at bars now. So it was like they put piano there, and it's carpet, and like you just had to like. And I was just sat down and we were talking, and then there was like, it was quite a long process actually. And then it was on stage at the Apollo. Like, you had to go in and do the songs and the scenes on stage at the Apollo, and like Nika Burns and everyone's there. And then there was another round where then I came in and just read with other Jamies that they had in for Jamie. And that was like the creative, like Dan,
at that point,
the
you
writers.
must be going, this may be a good sign.
You never know though.
No,
you know what it's like. You can do about 9 rounds and then they're like, sorry, we went a different way. But I was like, okay, I feel positive, but you never know. And I was on my way to go see a show at the Turbine, and the casting director was there, and he was like, oh. I was like, okay. And then my agent calls and he was like, you got Jamie. And I was like, oh my God, like, I think I cried, because also Jamie was my West End debut, and like growing up in London, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've done some amazing things, and I did like the National and other things that are like such tick boxes. But for me, doing the West End was like just something I'd always dreamed of doing, and playing a role like that, I was like, wow, like, I cried. I was like in the middle of Battersea just crying. I was with my friend Emily, and she was like, babe, I was like, babe, like just full tears, because I was like everything was supposed to line up in this way, in a way, and I that's when I was supposed to do that show. Yeah, and then obviously naturally I did like a month of it, then COVID happened. But like that's just, you know, like, but that show fully changed my life, like fully changed my life. The producers on that show were like so supportive and so just amazing. So to the point where I did the show and then COVID happened, and I was like, oh, I'm like, need to be doing something. So I was like, can I produce a show at the Apollo? And then the producers were like, yeah, you can. So they gave me the theatre and like the like sound and lighting and everyone for free. And I could record like a series of episodes to release it during the pandemic, and paid everyone that was a part of it. It was just like, oh, cool. Like, this is another thing that is like really fun. And we did like a series called Into the Spotlight, where it was like a different episode every week. And I just invited all the people that I was like, I know they'd just show up, you know, like those people that you've met that you're like, actually they'd love an opportunity like this. And we get to sing on stage at the Apollo, record it in a pandemic. So it was really cool. And then obviously Jamie ended up going to LA, and then I went with it to LA. And I think that whole show just fully changed my life. Yeah, for
obviously,
sure.
like the fans of the show are such a massive part of it.
Yeah.
But obviously, like, it seems that they took to you quite a lot too. Like, and suddenly social media has to become mildly more important. Was that a big kind of shift for you?
Well, I think on Aladdin, like, I had to do a lot of social media anyway. Like, it was like kind of part of your contract, really, that you have to, you know, post and market in a certain way and do all the promo for the show and share that. And like, I kind of in a way got used to it on that. And also I think working for Disney, there's like listen, I am very much a goody two shoes anyway, so it's not like I had to change my life in terms of like what I was posting. It was literally like, well, I just look like an absolute nerd because this is what I do on the daily. But like, I think it was like, you know, if you are someone who like goes out partying and things like that, you can't post that on your socials. Like, you can't, you know, have a drink in your hand or whatever. So I kind of knew that.
Like, look, Jasmine's drunk.
Yeah, like
no.
So exactly. You have to kind of, it's part of the brand, not just for you, but for Disney. So you got to like, you know, respect that in a way. And to be honest, that like, I was such a nerd on that show anyway, because it took over your life. You know, you had to like just eat the best, and you had to look a certain way and all these things. So it was like I didn't have any capacity to do anything else apart from that. But yeah, I think social media now has become such a thing, and like I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, to be honest, but I do think it means that people have more access to you in terms of like seeing you. So for me, I think it's important for like people to go, oh, I can do that, like seeing what I've done and like how I've ticked so many boxes for people that look like me or see themselves in me, and they go, oh, like Hiba's done that, so I could do that. So for me, that's like such an amazing thing about it, because I get messages from people like in like Qatar or like whatever, and they're like, oh, I love that you're doing this, and like I want to do it, how do I do it? And I'm like, oh wow, like, because I never had anyone that was like that for me. Like I had some incredible Black performers that I looked up to, but there was no one who was from the same background as me. Like, so it was like, oh wow, I'm that person now for people. So I think that's why social media is important to me personally. But I do think sometimes it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. Yeah. It's a lot of work. And I feel like a lot of actors feel like they have to keep on top of it to be remembered, or like just to be in the forefront of people's minds. And it's like, it's a whole other thing. Yeah.
And so how then, you said how important the West End was for you. And you were like partly hosting West End Live, no?
Oh my God. Like if you told Hiba at 11 that I'd be doing West End Live and also Hiba now, I honestly, like, I don't even think I processed it. Like I remember West End Live when it was at Leicester Square. Yeah. Like in that little, and I used to go and watch it there and be like, oh my God, Jersey Boys. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it was just like I always wanted to do it. And I think they'd asked Tim to do it, and Tim was like, Hiba could do it with me. So thanks, Tim. But it was one of those ones where I was like, oh my God, I've always wanted to do it. And it was, oh my God, I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Well, you don't get any prep. You get cue cards and it's all like improv on the day. So yeah, but like, but honestly, I've never known adrenaline like it. And there was like, I don't know what it was. It was like a flyby or something that day as well. So we had to like make sure that our timing was immaculate, because King George from Hamilton had to sing this song as the flyby was happening. So it was like this whole thing, and like, yeah, it was just so cool. Like looking out into the audience, and like my family came as well, and it was just one of those moments where I was like, oh my God. And also it was just wild, guys. Like honestly, I think about it, I'm like, what the hell? Like then they were like, do you want to sing a set at the end of it? I was like, what? Like as if, and my name was like there with like these other shows. Like genuinely, sometimes when I think about it, I cry, but I am an emotional person. But it was like that thing where like there's so many like bucket list moments that happen in our life sometimes. And because we're like, go, 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 we never sit and just go, oh my God, like I did that. Or like, like it's not, COVID was the first time I actually took a step back and was like, holy shit, like there's some stuff that I've done that's been really, really cool. But because I'm always hustling and trying to find the next thing, I never actually like just acknowledge that or process it. So I think definitely West End Live was a moment for me where I was like, holy shit, like this is epic. Yeah.
We were looking at the like the set list from the day, and it's all, it's just all shows, like the top shows in the West End. Yeah. And then there's this 10-minute slot for you. Don't even. So not only are you like you're representing, you're the representation, you and Tim at that point, representing the West End on that Saturday, this massive day. And you're like,
and then Tim Minchin was after me. I was like, what the hell?
Like, hey, like, and you like, I think that's such a lovely acknowledgement and button of like, you're like, I'm so glad that now you can look at it and go, oh my God, what an amazing thing.
Oh my God, I honestly I don't even know. Like sometimes I think, is someone just going to be like, we're joking? You know what I mean? Like, because I'm like, as if, like, I don't know. Like, I think for me that was such a. And Time Travelers, I think, has been such an amazing thing, and I don't think presenting West End Live or hosting the What's on Stage announcements would have happened had I not been doing Time Travelers. In terms of like being in a West End show again, and like having that kind of like be the thing you're selling. I'm there to promote Time Travelers. So I think in a way it was just this epic weekend of like a celebration of musical theatre and everything that kind of like felt like, oh wow, like London, like just being there and like in your hometown in Trafalgar Square, like it just, it was epic. I think the more I think about it, the more I'm like, that was wild, and what the hell, as if they asked me to do it, and I hope they ask me again one day.
They will.
I was like, oh gosh.
Is there anything about the industry or about health and wellness or anything at all that you would like to see get in the bin?
Yeah, several things. I'm joking. I think definitely more acknowledgement of mental health in the industry, I think. And like, I know some shows are getting better and they have like, mental health first aiders in the building and, things like that. And I'm a trained mental health first aider, even though no one in the building knows, because it was never a thing that was like spoken about. But I think acknowledging that what we do is really hard, and not just physically, but mentally. And I think those things are so intertwined, and it's like, someone might be having a really hard day, and then to then go on stage and have to like make everyone laugh is like super hard. Or, so I think not making people feel guilty about just having a hard time, and I think post-pandemic, people are still, really like just trying to get back to what it was before, in terms of like, fear and money and all these things. And it's like, oh, cool, I've signed a year's contract, but that can be cut short. So where's the kind of stability? It's like mad. So I think just acknowledging that and making people feel secure in the thing that they're doing at that time, and not feel like it can be taken away from them. Because there's always a fear, isn't there? Like whether it is a contract or just feeling like, oh God, I'm going to get fired because I've missed time off because my mental health's in a bin. Or do you know what I mean? It's like actually like just give people a break. Because if you're off because you've sprained your ankle, you've got to have rehab, and you can't do the show. So why is that a different thing to your mental health or, vocal health or whatever it is? It's like, just, cut people some slack, basically, I think is my thing that I'd like to see change. Also, as much as I think theatre is progressing in terms of representation, I think I'd like to see fairer representation across the board. So not just for race, but like disabilities, genders, and just kind of like all anyone wants, right, is equality and a seat at the table. So sometimes I think it would be nicer if that happened from higher up in the pecking order, if you will, like where it's like, yeah, cool, it's fine to have a few people of color on stage, but like, if the whole crew and stage management and the creatives and everyone else is not reflective of that, then actually that's not enough, like just having a few people on stage doesn't reflect the whole building or the whole production company or the whole, there's other jobs there that I think could just have a variety of different people doing it. That's what I'd like to see change. I don't want to be the only person. That is sad. I think that's so sad that like in the whole 10 years Aladdin's been on, I think there's been 2 people from the Middle East to play Jasmine. Like, that is mad. The show's first song is Arabian Nights. Like, that is mad, So I think, for me, like, I don't want to be the only person. I want there to be loads of other people that come after and like are better and do the thing bigger. Like, so I think it's one of those ones where that's what I'd like to see change. Was that the only question, Bobby? Did you say good things as well? Or
no, it was all just stuff to go in the bin.
Stuff to go in the bin. Okay. Because I was like, oh God, I've just ranted. I'm like, was I meant to say something good?
That's the appropriate response to get in the bin. Yeah, it should be there.
Okay.
Do you have any advice to somebody who might be entering the industry? I can't speak.
Industry.
Entering the industry now.
I think my top advice would just be kind to everyone. Like, I think everyone in the building is doing their best, and don't get me wrong, we all have bad days. We all have bad days where like, we might have whatever going on in our lives, but I think just approach everything with kindness and try and empathize with everyone and what they're going through. And also we're all doing the same thing. No one is more important than anyone else. Like that would be my main advice. I think what I've learned, and I think maybe I've been lucky because I've done probably all the jobs you can do in like, in terms of I've been a swing, I've understudies, I've been in the ensemble. Like, so I'm like, everyone is important and everyone's valuable and everyone should be made to feel that way. And I think everyone in the building is telling a story and makes it happen, So like if one person is not here or like, you know, doesn't feel valued, then everything kind of goes to shit. Because it's like, I remember watching Hamilton for the first time, right? And seeing how incredible that ensemble was and being like, if this ensemble is not good, this whole show goes to shit, because they really lift the energy of the whole show. And like, and I felt like they were like another character in a way. So I was like, this is so important. And, you know, and everyone that makes the show happen, like the revolves, the sound, the whatever, it's like, it can't happen with everyone. So I'd say be kind. I'd also say find something outside of the industry that makes you happy. It can be so consuming. And it can be like, you know, I'm being cheerful now, but bloody hell, there are days where I'm like, oh God, like this is the worst thing in the world. Like, what am I doing? But it's like, I think if you find other things that make you happy or like bring you some joy, then you're not just sat by the phone waiting for it to ring. You know, there's other things that are bringing you joy, whether it's writing, choreographing, whatever. If you still want it to be in the industry, like find other things that bring you happiness, and also work hard, guys. Nothing is like given for free. You know, like I think it's so easy to kind of sit back and go, why am I not getting these things? Or what, you know, oh, woe is me. But what are you actually doing to make those things happen for you? Are you going to class? Like, are you going to a dance class? Are you going to an acting class? I go to a singing class at least once a month. An acting class whenever I can, like dance, RIP. But like, you know, I'm not saying we're perfect, because I'm definitely not. I don't remember the last time I went to a dance class. But I do think it's that thing of like, just try, like just try and be your best, and then anything else that happens is out of your control. Do you know what I mean? I guess.
Absolutely. All right, we've got a task for you.
Oh, go on.
Which is don't change your facial expression.
Okay.
And we're going to slightly look away from you now.
Okay,
as we
I'm nervous.
determine,
Okay.
Without saying anything.
Okay.
If we think that Hiba has managed to tell a lie, and if so, what we think it is. Now, I don't think Hiba's lied.
Yeah, I have a suspicion. I don't think she's lied.
Now, so if you're listening to this at home, just have a final think through everything that's happened.
Yeah, mull it over.
A little, you know, let that wine just
drink it in.
Really scent the aromas, and then place your bets. And then, would you tell us? Did you manage to tell us a lie?
Yeah. No, I'm joking. What do you think it was, though?
I went through so many emotions in that space.
You had a physical
response. I was going to keep it longer, and I was going to say that the lie was my mum getting hit by a taxi, but it was actually very true. So I was like, what can I say? But actually,
if we had to guess, that would have been
the one.
Okay.
Yeah, that was where I was going to go.
If you had to
if
guess.
it was anything.
Or that half of you was born in an ambulance. And the other half outside.
And then they put me back together.
But they glued you back together after, which is really
that's why
it was the left half that came out first.
Oh my God.
It's why I stopped growing at this height. That's what happened.
And then.
Right, it's time for another game.
I love a game.
A game of this or that. So it's going to be a 1 minute round, lightning round, a la Friends.
Okay.
Steffan is on the clock. He's ready.
Right,
okay.
I'm ready.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Eggs or bacon?
Eggs.
White bread or brown bread?
White.
US office or Friends?
Friends.
Cardio or resistance training?
Resistance.
McDonald's or Burger King?
McDonald's.
Singing or acting?
Singing. No, acting.
Henry or Claire?
Henry.
Yoga or Pilates?
Pilates.
Family Guy or Love Island?
Love Island.
Domino's Pizza or Papa John's?
Domino's.
Sport or dance?
Dance.
Alcohol or chocolate?
Chocolate.
Matching socks or mismatching socks?
Mismatching socks.
Coca-Cola or Pepsi?
Coca-Cola.
Pretty Pasha or Jasmine?
Prasmin.
Game of Thrones or Glee?
Glee.
Books or Kindle?
Books.
Clean shaven or beard?
Clean shaven.
Personal chef or personal stylist?
Ooh, personal stylist.
Opening night or press night?
Opening night.
Sexy or smart?
Smart.
Shower or bath?
Bath.
Loco Chanel or Sandra Bullock?
Sandra.
Dogs or babies?
Babies.
Snakes or beavers?
Snakes.
Theme park or water park?
Theme park.
Running or walking?
Walking.
Director or choreographer?
Director.
Bobby or Steffan? That started off really good.
Yeah, it was rapid.
And then it took a long...
Because then there's some of the questions I was like, there's no way I can... I like, in what context?
I was... precisely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I was really surprised by how long First of all,
what, beard or clean shaven?
Love Island.
No, let me tell you. What was it? Love Island, the Family Guy.
Love Island, the Family
So
Guy.
I love Family Guy,
Yeah.
but recently I've been watching Love Island All Stars.
Love Island All Stars. I was talking about this
just talking about this.
Are you up to date?
I'm. Yes, I am
I
actually.
love
up
that
to
you
date.
watched this. Okay, so in a way, I'm kind of rooting for Toby and the other girl,
You're
Georgia.
not.
No, because I'll tell you why. Are you fuming? Okay.
I am fuming.
No, but I think the others have been a little bit dramatic in this situation. Oh no, Stefan's cancelled
They're
me.
not.
He's cancelled me because I think they were always going to behave like that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
fair, you have to accept that people are who they are.
Exactly.
But if who they are is
bad people,
then
then that's just who they are.
then you go, should it be okay that they're being bad people? She is the worst.
She is truly the worst, though.
The thing is, she started off,
But
and I didn't know her
she
from the
doesn't
previous
believe.
series.
No, me neither.
And Maddie, my girlfriend, who is
Yeah.
the reason I watch it, I was like, oh, this girl seems really nice. And
Yeah.
Maddie was like, no, she's the worst. And I was like, why?
Really?
Like, I don't get it. And then as it's gone on, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh.
But what's
I
wild is that she
understand.
actually is gaslighting everyone into believing that she's like telling the truth.
It's
I'm
so
like,
weird.
Yeah, it is weird. And she's just hopped from all these different guys. Now she's back to Toby.
Yeah.
Bobby, I really want you to watch it.
just ruined
It sounds
lives.
like pure chaos.
Bobby, please watch it.
Because it's All Stars as well. Like, they've all been in there before.
Yeah.
So they all know,
they
How
know
it
the
works.
games.
and they
Yeah.
know the outcome on the outside. They're all really playing this game. This does.
yeah.
Of course.
And also, they've all had so much work done post the first seasons.
It's amazing.
So they're unrecognizable, some of them.
you
I'm
come
like,
back and you're like, what
Yeah.
happened
What's
to
Love
you?
Island done to you?
honestly,
It's a surgery tick box, isn't
yeah,
it? On a lot
is.
of them.
Especially that girl who left last week, Hannah. Bless her.
She was on series 1.
I know.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Now
OG.
she
Fair.
seems genuinely
She does
lovely.
seem lovely.
Like, actually really nice person. She's got 2 kids who wanted to settle down. Like,
2 kids. I didn't realise.
oh, maybe 1 kid. I don't know.
Maybe, I
She's
don't know.
she's got a kid anyway.
Yeah, Reggie.
And she's Reggie. Little Reggie. And
That's his name.
she's just had a lot of work done. She obviously really likes that aesthetic of somebody who looks like they've had surgery done.
Yeah.
She's had like ass implants.
Everything, literally
Like-
everything. But you know what? Part of me rates it. It could never be me.
Oh.
But part of me is like, get it.
Yeah, if you go, this is
Absolutely.
my aesthetic, you go, okay.
But
that's
also,
the
if
thing,
you
she
have the
loves it.
money, like,
Yeah.
and you're like, do you know what? I'm going to get my ass, boobs, whatever else you can get done. I think she's had like lipo. I think she's had that thing where you go to
had it all.
Turkey and you're like,
Do
it.
Just do me a list, babe. Just
Whatever
do me a
you've
list.
got, I'll have.
Oh, it's not like it's judging it.
Oh,
It's
no.
it's almost kind of fantastic.
It is like she is carved from the gods. Like, it's like what you'd expect, like a Greek goddess body to look like.
But it's also like that. It's a very specific aesthetic.
Oh, for sure.
Like there is no way you could look at her and not know she'd had
Oh,
surgery.
yeah. No
Fine,
way, no
fine.
way. No
Yeah.
way. That would be wild if she hadn't.
she's
And
not
that's just what she
fooling
looked
anyone.
like. Yeah.
Yeah, it's impossible that a human
Impossible.
being would look like
Yeah,
that otherwise.
yeah.
I'm not going to make you watch an episode because I know how much you'd
Please,
hate
Bobby.
it. But
Maybe I'll watch one episode
Please.
just for the bands.
it's something.
It sounds it.
And also,
Yeah.
the clean shaven or beard, that was a
Yeah.
real dilemma
yeah,
for
that
you.
really-
Yeah, because-
That's actually where it all started to go wrong.
Yeah, because I'm not sure about in the context, you see. Like, I'm not angry either. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going
Yeah,
to say
fair.
no to a beard or clean shaven, but I'm like, I panicked in that situation because I've dated both. So I was like, I don't know.
Also, what I like about that question is it's not a permanent feature of somebody's face.
That's
No,
true. That's very
it's
true.
true.
Do you mean?
That's very true. It's not like you asked something tall or short or like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because you're like, you can't help those
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
That's different. Although we've just changed snakes versus badgers to
Badgers.
snakes versus beavers.
It's now beavers,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
okay.
Because I think it's because of a previous guest.
Oh.
But actually, before everyone just chose badgers.
Oh,
Like
really?
95% of people chose badgers.
I would
Yeah.
choose badger.
Would
and
you?
now beaver
Yeah.
does have a slight reason not to pick it. So, well, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
the connotation behind it, Bobby.
Hey, I've got a very innocent mind. I'll have you know.
yeah,
Me
and
too.
I
Yeah, sure.
think that some of the guests might therefore avoid beaver and choose
Go for snake.
Oh.
But then snake, in this context, now we're having snakes or beavers.
Oh,
Yeah.
God,
Has a
no.
different connotation.
No, but
no.
I didn't think it like that.
It's not
just
meant
to
like
get
that.
our minds out of the gutters. I meant it because I used to be deadly scared of snakes and
Yeah.
had hypnosis. This is genuine.
Did it work?
Yes, and because I had to hold a snake in Anthony and Cleopatra.
Yeah, I remember you saying about this?
So,
That's the lie.
So I had to hold a live snake in that show. And so I was like deadly scared. So now I'm like, no, actually I quite like snakes. As long as they've been tamed and they have a handler.
And they're in a cage.
And they're in a cage and I can hold them for just the right amount of time and give them back.
As long as I can give them back.
Wow. Yeah, we might have to rethink snakes versus bees.
Yeah,
that is, now that you've said it, guys, I think
that's all I can imagine
you're going to get cancelled.
Yes, sir. We're definitely getting cancelled for beavers.
It lasted one episode.
Straight back to
version.
badgers.
Straight back to badgers. Sorry, previous guest. We will message you to say sorry. Well, Hiba, thank you so much.
Yeah,
thank you for having me. This was loads of fun.
It was
a lot of fun.
super fun. And we would say come and see you in Time Traveler's Wife, but by the
You've seen
time
it.
I have, but by the time this airs, you will actually be closed.
Yeah, we'll just have to go back in time.
No, but that's Back to the Future.
That's a stone cold.
And thank you at home or wherever you might be for watching or listening.
Yeah, and if you've enjoyed this episode, click those like and subscribe buttons. Find us on Instagram at Fit2Perform West End. As always, if you've got any questions you want answered, slide into those DMs. I'll be in there handling a steak.
Oh no, Bobby.
Thanks again for listening. If you like what we've heard, we've been Fit to Talk with our wonderful guest, Hiba Elchikhe, and your hosts, me, Steffan.
And me, Bobby. And if you didn't like it, we've been Joe Wicks. Peace out. Oh my God, there's a snake. A snake.